Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight on this edition of the Four Train Express. I am your boy, the Four Train Express. Hope you all are having a great night, great day, great evening. Hope you all are doing well. Um, we've got quite a bit to talk about from spring training to just the Yankees in general. I hope you guys are ready because this is going to be a very fun episode. I'm happy to be able to do this again tonight. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, or before you even do that, let's give a quick roll call. Jonathan, thank you for showing up. Stephen B, what's going on, brother? How are you? Salute to both of you guys. Thank you guys for showing up. So the first thing is spring training. Pitchers and catchers have reported. We have, um, guys taking BP. Everybody on the Yankees roster who's been invited is now at spring training. We've seen guys like Juan Soto take BP. We've seen Juan Soto's press conference, Aaron Judge's press conference, and everything Yankees, and we're kicking it off. And it's starting off this weekend, starting on the 24th, when the Yankees, I believe they're playing Detroit, will be going over there to have their first spring training game. And then Juan Soto, uh, our newly acquired Juan Soto, will be making his spring training debut at George M. Steinbrenner Field um, on Sunday against the Toronto Blue Jays. So we've got a lot to be looking forward to. This season is going to be a very exciting season. I am very much looking forward to it. We have um, the Yankees and all the new acquisitions, so it's going to be great. Um, Working at No Heat. That's Thank you, Stephen, for tuning in. Sorry about the no heat, no hot water, man. That sucks. Hopefully everything gets sorted out. Um, Warren, he could be the favorite for the number five spot, but we have to see what happens with Nestor Cortez. We have to see what happens with guys like that. Just see where they're at, and then we can kind of base uh, base the rotation off of that. But like I said, we've got a lot to look forward to. We've got guys like Verdugo, Soto, Grisham, all coming over in trades. And like I said, Juan Soto will be taking his first spring training game with the Yankees on Sunday. So we've got that to look forward to. So that's going to be a very exciting um, game to look forward to, even though it's just spring training. Juan Soto's going to be playing in that game. Jordan, how are you? If you guys have not done so already, please hit that like, subscribe, and bell icon buttons. Please also share this out with your friends and your family, and it means a lot. So I thank you guys. We are on the road to 500 subscribers. Um, it's it's exciting. Like I said, Jake, how's it going, boss? Um, for me, I think it's most exciting because we've made so many upgrades and because we have done so much. We've got a healthy Rodon coming back. He looks great coming into the spring training. We've got Cortez who looks great. Let's see, we've got Cole coming back looking better than ever. I mean, looking to capitalize on his Cy Young Award winning season last year and looking to continue that. So we've got a lot to look forward to. And I want everyone in the chat to put in the comments now what you're most excited about. So let me know um, because I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Yeah, Jake, you're right about that. This offseason was definitely a win, even if we don't get another starter. As we all know about the whole Blake Snell thing, that's a complete and utter whirlwind. We don't know if we're getting him. We don't know if we're not getting him. We don't even know if the Yankees still have interest in him. There's been too many conflicting reports. The reporting this year has been god awful. So we have to look at that as well. Um, if anything, it's going to be something to see what happens later on down the road. Um, FL Diver JC, what's going on, brother? Nice to see you, Jonathan. Ben Rice and Spencer Jones. I don't know if we'll see Ben Rice, maybe Spencer Jones, um, but we'll see. So, Jonathan, if if Ben Rice is there, I mean, I don't know how much playing time he'll get. What's up, CWE? Um, Spencer Jones, probably if he is there, he'll get more playing time. So we'll see what happens, but it'd be cool to see both there. So, like I said, it's something to think about and something to um, look forward to. I mean, it's exciting all around. Yeah, I'm definitely looking very forward to a much better offense because of how painful last year was. I agree with that 100%. Um, so you're right about that, Jake. Jonathan, I'll post the link here in the chat if you want to join. So there's the link, Jonathan, if you want to jump on. So I don't know how who is the one person that you guys are most looking forward to see? Because I personally I'm looking forward to see what Stroman, Verdugo, Grisham, and Soto do. Um, and yes, FL Diver, we are definitely a different team, and it is definitely time to get excited over this. This is the one season I can say in a very long time that we have been I've been this excited to see. So I'm very happy about that. Hey, Jonathan,
Hi. Hi.
how you doing?
I'm good, good. Just ending my day with the chat with you.
No, I appreciate that. So
I was looking all day for more news on any other moves,
yeah, I
and
think it's been kind of quiet.
yeah, today has been a very quiet day. But I'm very happy for spring training to start. There was
Yeah,
actually a game on MLB Network earlier.
yeah. Um, so we know that Miami signed Tim Anderson. We also know that Mitch Keller got an extension, which was great for him. He's a
Yeah.
fantastic pitcher, and he's going to be. And it's great that they did that. So
Yeah, I'm happy that Pittsburgh is finally taking some initiative and not throwing away their best player like they did with Cole. They basically gave him away for nothing. You
yeah,
remember that? You remember that Cole trade to Houston? They had a
yeah,
chance to get so many good players that Houston is using right now, and they basically gave him away for pennies.
yes, they did. They absolutely did. And then ultimately, Houston lost him to us when we signed him to
Yes,
a
but
9 year, 326. So,
yes, but I'm talking about in terms of a trade. Houston just got draft picks.
but yeah, in terms of a trade, yes, they got him on pennies to the dollar, which was great for Houston. But
Well, imagine if they asked for a guy like Jeremy Pena in that deal, then he wouldn't be on the
yeah,
Houston,
yeah, definitely. I agree
or
with that.
maybe Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they could have asked for so much more, and you know they didn't. So it's now that that's almost like what happened with the Orioles and Brewers trade for Corbin
Yeah,
Burns.
in regard to that trade, I thought it was almost criminal that that Brewers agreed to that deal. That
Yeah,
was that was basically spending a penny and getting back $1,000.
yeah, that's exactly right. And uh, JC, you're right. Add Pseudo and Verdugo, and we are definitely 15 games better than last year. Absolutely. Um,
Teams always
but
tax. Yeah,
but
that's the
CW
question.
is right though,
Yeah. Why do you think the teams always want to basically overcharge the Yankees for their prospects or whatever they whenever they want to trade, especially.
because it's the Yankees. Everybody knows that the Yankees. It's the Yankees. It's the name.
Yeah.
It's the brand. So that's why,
And
unfortunately, and I hate to say it like that.
recently we've been soaked every time in the last I think three Rule 5 drafts. Everybody wants the Yankees prospects.
Yep, it's true.
So I would
That's
I
absolutely
would
right.
I would look if the Yankees thinks about this smarter in regard to the Rule 5 draft, everybody wants the Yankees prospects. So why not before the Rule 5 draft or during the season when the rule deadline, if you figure out who you want to protect from the Rule 5 draft and try to trade a bunch of your excess prospects that you're going to lose in the Rule 5 draft anyway. Trade them for either younger players, more prospects, or a player that can help you on your team right now instead of losing them for nothing.
Yeah, I mean they could. Um, it's
Um,
true, we could, but I don't know if that's something that they would think about doing. But you have a point, and FL Diver has a point too, and that is because we finally have a great farm. We are so
yeah,
deep in so many different areas that it's a good problem to have.
yeah. I don't think the farm has been this deep since 1994 when Jeter, Posada, when the core four was in the system altogether.
Yeah,
That
it
was
hasn't been. It definitely hasn't been,
so there's this
and
the spirit
that's the
of
great
Gene
thing.
Michael is still with the Yankees.
Yes, but
He yeah, he is
we
someone.
also have to we also have to think that it's not just how deep our farm system is. It's who is in our farm system. I mean, we've got guys like Spencer Jones. I mean, we had Jason Dominguez before he got called up. Austin Wells before he got called up. Roderick Arias, who we still have in the minors. Clayton Dieter, Will Warren, Henry
Lele,
Leilani.
Lonnie.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, Chase
Everything
Hampton.
I've read about that guy Lalani since I heard his name from Dane is very good. He could be
He is a very,
another.
very good pitcher.
He could be another Randy Johnson type player.
Yeah, we
Off,
also have Brando Maea. I mean,
yeah, Brando
that
Maya,
George Lombard, who was our.
Lombard.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we have a lot of.
we,
The Yankees have a lot of infielders and outfield
yeah,
prospects, and they will have to eventually trade some of them because
yeah.
there are just too many, or lose them in the Rule 5 draft.
Mm-hmm. Lagrange is another one.
Yeah,
What's up, Donnie? How's it going, bud? So, but here's the thing, though, and if we really look at it like this, the Yankees going into spring training, I don't think have ever been in a better position than they have been now. I think this has been a long time coming.
no, probably they've probably been in the best position since maybe 1996.
Agreed. Give me 1 second, Jonathan. Uh, hold on 1 second. Sorry, I was getting the link to Jason. But anyways, um, we have more talented prospects that we have seen in the last 20-25 years, like you said.
Yeah,
And I know we've always gone off on off on how, oh, well, the Rays and the Orioles always draft high, so they always get the better picks. That's not necessarily the case. And going into the spring training, that's been proven. If we really think about it, yeah, the Yankees draft lower, right? But they have turned those picks into gold.
Well,
So we have to think about that as well.
drafting lower doesn't always mean better. Just look at,
No.
for example, Henderson. Henderson was drafted below Volpe in the same draft, and he won Rookie of
Yep.
the Year. He was drafted
Yep.
first pick of the second round of the 2019 draft.
Yep. Hey, Jason.
I agree.
Gentlemen, evening.
How are you?
Good, man. How you guys doing?
Good, good.
Good. So we were just talking about spring training and the farm system going into the spring training, and Jonathan and I were discussing about how deep this farm has been
Yeah.
in the last 20-25 years. What are your thoughts on the Yankees going into this year's spring training compared to the previous 5-10 spring trainings, and how does the farm system really help that?
Well, I don't remember how many years ago. It was 5 or 7 years ago. Brian Cashman was finally given carte blanche to run the drafting uninterrupted, and since then they've had a much more improved drafting history.
Mm-hmm.
And they've also done a good job. They've improved their player development and scouting departments and all these guys. And you could just see like where a lot of teams like the Orioles and some of these other teams that have high picks because they were bad for a decade. The
Yep.
Yankees are doing as good enough job developing players in the bottom of the rounds as some of these other teams are doing at the top of the rounds. So it's a
Yep.
testament to their player development. And
Absolutely.
this is the first time in a while that I could say the Yankees are kind of this well rounded as I've ever seen them in the farm. So
Agreed.
and they could call guys up, they could trade guys. They have depth at every position you can think of.
Yeah.
So
It's a good problem to have.
yeah, it is a good problem. Man. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
the biggest problem is who to protect in the Rule 5 draft.
Yeah, for those that don't know, folks, there's a time quota. So like the international players who get signed immediately, and like Spencer Jones, these folks, there's a timeline before you become even eligible for the Rule 5 draft. And whether it's 4 or 5 years, I have to go back and look. It's based
Yeah, I know.
based on your age when you're signed internationally or drafted in college. So there's a couple of years at least. I think it's 4 or 5 years.
These are the rules. If you're signed 18 years or older, I believe it's 18 years or younger, it's 5 years in the system before you need to be protected, and 19 or older, it's
4 years.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it used to be 3 and 4. They raised it about 10 years ago, 1 year.
So
And the Yankees. Sorry, Micah. The I don't know any other farm that gets looted more than the Yankees farm in a Rule 5 draft.
it's true.
At least not in the last 5 years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Starting
And
with Whitlock and
Yep.
the guy from Cleveland.
Yeah.
And you know what the thing is? I had said earlier that we are always giving teams like the Rays, the Orioles, and teams like that shit for drafting higher.
Yeah.
But drafting higher doesn't always mean you're going to get the better guys. I mean, look at what the Yankees have done. They've drafted 26th, 22nd, 28th, 29th, 20th, and look at the picks that they've gotten. They've gotten gold out of it.
Judge.
I mean, Judge. It's
drafted
a
at
prime
the bottom.
example. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So-
over the last like 25 years, the lowest they've ever picked was 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Judge was the compensation pick when Nick Swisher signed with the Indians at the time. They got that extra draft pick, which they used for Aaron Judge.
He was the
Yeah.
third pick in the draft.
He was the third pick that year. Yep.
They
And-
drafted Dragilo and Clarkin first.
Ian Clarkin. Yep.
And
then
that's the crazy thing.
Eric Dragilo.
That's the crazy thing.
back.
Is
Yeah.
all these teams who are drafting higher just because just because the Orioles got Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, and all of them, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be better than the ones that go later in the draft.
Yeah, yeah. It's just you never know. You have to develop the players. You got. I mean,
It's a lot about development, about discipline,
Yep.
about maturity.
mhm. So
Just
Most
it's
of
like
all,
it,
player
just
development.
similar to the military, I guess.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
So there's something that we like to say is you're only as good as your weakest link,
yeah. True.
and that's how it's the same thing with baseball. You're only as good as how you have been broken down to be built back up.
Hmm. And
So
before this year, the Yankees' weakest links were very weak. Now, they've gotten a heck of a lot better in the depth department, backups to the backups, and they haven't had that in a while.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
and, and this prospect hugging that a lot of folks call it gives them another year to develop in
yeah.
the system, which is one reason why their farm is ranked so high right now. So,
So do you? So
I
would
wonder what their farm is ranked.
seventh,
seven, seven?
they're ranked seventh now.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
You know,
If Volpe has a good year this year, do you extend him
I extended them before the end of the year.
before the end of the year?
Hmm. If he has, I mean,
But
I don't know if he's going to improve to the level of Bobby Witt, but like Bobby Witt's second year was way better than his first year.
yeah,
But I would try to lock up. Uh, I would try to lock up Volpe. I'd try to lock up Dominguez if he's, if they're playing well, and even
if
potentially Austin Wells.
the my thing is, so I agree with you, Jason, that if Dominguez, Wells, and Volpe have very strong years this year, whenever Dominguez gets back,
Mm-hmm.
you have to really think about locking them up and locking them up ASAP,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
because locking them up and then if let's say in the off season or even before the off season before Soto hits free agency, you lock up Soto. Now your core is Soto, Volpe, Dominguez, and Wells. You can't get better than that.
Yep.
One number I suggested to Hector about to offer Volpe is maybe 10 years, 150 million,
You might be able to get him for less than that.
maybe less.
Depends.
Yeah.
That's why I try to do it early, the sooner.
Yeah,
Sooner the better.
I would do it. I would do it even during the season.
Yeah,
But
his price will go up. His price.
something like that, a 10-year contract,
Mhm.
maybe with an opt out at his age 29 season, just so he feels more comfortable with the contract.
Yeah, and you pretty much buying out the majority of their prime years before 30.
Yeah,
Yep.
And if
the
they
last
walk at 30, they walk at 30.
the last
Yep.
person they offered a multi-year contract to during arbitration was Cano.
Yeah, yeah,
So you brought up Bobby Wood Jr., Jason, and that's a very interesting comparison because there is something that Volpe has that Bobby Witt Jr. has as well, and that is power and speed.
yeah,
And both are terrors on the base paths.
yep,
So if you can manage to lock up your one guy who can, drive in, you know, for our 60, 70 runs, hit you 20 homers, and steal you, you know, 25, 30 bases, I'm okay with that.
me
With
too.
giving him that 10 for 150. I'm okay with that.
Would
Was
you
Jeter ever 30-30?
maybe a
I
third?
don't I don't
Never.
know.
Was he a 25-25?
No.
No, he was a 20. Wasn't he a 2020 guy?
Maybe a 2020. Volpe was 2020 as a rookie.
Yeah,
So,
Volpe was 2020 as a rookie.
and
So if
that's
Volpe's 2020 is a rookie, that's saying something.
yeah, and that's not taking anything away from Jeter. He's clear Hall of Fame. People
But
say,
Jeter never had more than I think 24 home runs in a season.
yeah, but he also had 3,000. He had 3,600 hits. He's like number 6 all time.
Yeah, and
Oh,
Jeter is very similar. Jeter and Ichiro are very similar. They sacrifice power for more hitting, more average.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And some people look, you can't be a Mickey Mantle type player. You can't have power and average. Some people are power or average. So you have to choose one, and obviously average is more beneficial over the long term,
Yeah, and the better you,
especially when you're surrounded by power guys.
yeah, and the
Mhm.
better your contact rate gets. I mean, the better odds you're
Yeah.
putting them to play more often. So
So,
the power will come.
yep. So Donnie brought up an interesting point here. So I know we just touched on Soto, and we're going to touch on this a little bit more and go more into depth with this. We know Soto's a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Donnie thinks that Soto will get 13 for 3 or for 650.
50 per.
That's interesting because AAV wise, what is that about? 40.
50, 50
That's
right on the
50.
nose.
How
Yes.
much?
50
50.
right on the nose.
50 million AAV.
Yes.
That is 20 million less than what Otani is making.
Yep.
But if it's me, and this is just me, if you really wanted to and really make it worth his while, you could do. We're going to take Donnie's proposal here and put a little twist on it. Give Soto the 13 for 650, which is your 50 million AAV, and then add an option for a 14th for another 20. So you can bring the deal up to roughly 670 for 14, which is what roughly, if anyone can do math in their heads, because I certainly can't do it.
14 at 670
Yep.
14 and 670. That's
takes it to a little. It takes it. I mean, 14 at 50 per would be 700. 670 looking at about
47.85.
yeah.
Okay, so that's 47.85. Okay, and then if you really were so inclined, you could add that opt out after the 7th or 8th year in the event that maybe he wants to test the market again.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if he's going to want to, but regardless, you could still do that, and I think that could get the job done. And he is worth every single penny because Jason, I know you have said this on countless occasions. Otani is not going to be a two-way player forever. And if you had to pick between Otani and Soto, who would you pick? The
Soto
answer is Soto with no hesitation.
all
But
day.
also,
Plus, Soto is also 5 years younger than
Yeah.
Otani.
but along with that contract for 670 for 14, you add incentive like MVP, batting title, ways
Yep.
to increase the number to make
Home
it
run derby
more
champ.
Yeah.
maybe.
Folks here
But
saying
ways to entice, sweeten the deal to get Soto to sign.
mm-hmm. And to the folks that are saying like Danny and Bryce are saying he ain't getting 700. I'm pretty confident when I'm saying that Scott Boras is going to ask for 700. He has the
You
argument.
better believe
Yeah.
he has the argument, and that is the end of that.
It's just like when A-Rod got that 252 deal, which blew the blue free agency wide open. Nobody ever had a $200 million deal before that, and everything just went up from there.
Yep.
This is going to lead to the first $1 billion deal eventually.
I'm gonna I put this up here because I think Donnie has a point when he says this that Soto will sell just as many jerseys or not more than Judge. He might very well be right.
And to his point too, which is a good point, because people are asking, is Judge gonna be upset? That's everybody knows, even Judge, that Soto's gonna make more than him.
Yeah, and
It's given now.
Judge has a very Derek Jeter mindset.
He does,
He
and
puts the team first. He cares more about the ring rather than how much money my teammate makes.
and who better to pair him with that's gonna help him get a ring than Juan Soto?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's first of all, he's making $40 million a year. He's not hurting. He's also top 2 every year in jersey sales. He makes money from commercials and ads. Like he is not hurting at all. So he doesn't.
and I'm going to tell you this now because I don't think a lot of folks realize this, that the amount of money that you're going to pay Soto next year, you're going to make back easily on
Yep.
merchandise sales,
At least
shirts,
double or triple.
jerseys. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to make that on jerseys, shirt sales, any kind of merchandise, bobbleheads, whatever. Plus whatever endorsements he gets, you're going to make all that money back. So he's going to
So
pay for himself.
so to your point, I would argue you're losing more money by not re-signing Soto, no matter what the
Yeah,
contract is.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely.
So
And I
that's
don't know
my
if you
argument
guys,
to the Yankees.
yep. And I don't know if you saw um, his second round of batting practice, the
Yep.
shot that he hit off the batter's eye.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, he already looks like he's at home,
Yep.
and he's not even in the Bronx yet.
Yep.
So if you have a fully comfortable Soto all year with no
Mhm.
injuries,
And he's
that
connected with.
could be a 40 to 45 home run year
Yeah.
minimum.
Yep.
And Donnie brings up a good point. The
Yeah.
Yanks didn't trade all that talent for 1 year of
Yeah.
Soto.
They're
And
getting.
that
And
I mentioned that to you, Jason, earlier.
I want
Yeah.
to put something into perspective here. So Soto played in the National League East for a good number of years with the Nationals before getting traded.
Mm-hmm.
Put up outstanding, I mean, numbers that are unheard of nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to San Diego, and last year his numbers were this. He had a 275 average, hit 35 home runs, and drove in 119 runs. So
Mm-hmm.
he's doing that in a ballpark that is twice the size of Nationals Park.
Mm-hmm. And with an on-base
He,
percentage of over 400 again.
yep,
Yeah.
his slugging was close to 1,000,
Yeah. Yeah.
and for a kid at 26, he has such a good eye that he almost forces pitch. He forces a pitcher
Yep.
to throw it to him.
Yeah, he's got elite pitch recognition, strike zone recognition.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, his batter eye is probably as good as what I heard Joe DiMaggio was.
Mm-hmm.
Because Joe DiMaggio had, I looked up Joe DiMaggio's stats once. He walked almost the same amount as he struck out, and both were less than 400 times in his career.
True.
And Sunil brings up a good point. I want to bring this up because he's absolutely right. Petco Park plays bigger. Imagine what he can do in the Bronx with that short porch, which Donnie brings up that he's going to love.
Yeah, this lineup is just going to wreak havoc on teams. It really is.
It-
Whether
it's
it's home.
exciting.
Yeah.
It is
This
exciting
lineup
because,
this lineup is probably the most scariest lineup I've ever had in my lifetime.
yeah,
Yeah. I'd say the
this is
same.
the deepest. This is the deepest lineup that we have had in God knows how many years. I don't even think 09's lineup was this deep.
No.
Because if you think about what we have going into this season as a lineup, we've got DJ LeMahieu, who's more than likely, not more than likely, it's looking a lot healthier than last year and the year before.
Yep.
You've got Alex Verdugo, who is a spray ball hitter to all fields. He does have some pop to go along with that contact.
Yes, he does.
You've then got Soto, who is arguably the best player in the sport, who we got for pennies on the dollar.
Yep.
Then you've got Aaron Judge, who is coming back healthy off that toe injury last year, and your reigning MVP from 2 years ago. You've got Gleyber Torres, who is going to continue to be a consistent hitter.
Uh,
You've got a much leaner and healthier Giancarlo Stanton. You've got a very healthy Anthony Rizzo. You've got a very sharp-minded backstop in Austin Wells, and then you've got Anthony Volpe. I don't think we have seen a lineup this deep ever.
Maybe since '98.
Yeah.
I don't even think 98 was that deep. And 98
Yes.
had a deep lineup.
Yep.
98 had 6 guys at the end of the year batting 290 or higher.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And if you think about last year's lineup, as a team, I don't think we even reached 240. I think as a team, collectively, we hit 230.
Yeah, there was something really wrong with last year's team.
If you look at this year's lineup, adding Soto's 275 and Verdugo's 280, you've just brought this lineup's average up a good 30, 40 points.
Yep.
Collectively.
Yep. And you're protecting
Which is
players.
scary to think about.
Yep.
And
we got both Verdugo and Soto on pennies to the dollar.
Yep.
And one thing you can add to that, this lineup is now has more protection for guys like Judge and Volpe, so they don't have to put the extra stress while they're on the bat, meaning they will be a lot more calm, a lot more focused, and they can hit the ball with more discipline rather than swinging out of the boxes.
Yep. And I don't know.
Last year we saw a lot of swing and misses on pitches that were in the other batted box.
Yep.
And if you even look at the bench, that's just as deep as last year.
Yep.
And the year before that.
Bench is good too.
Because think about it. You got Grisham, who is a Gold Glove winning, or
that's right.
is a Gold Glove center fielder.
Yeah.
He's a defensive whiz. He's got speed beyond speed.
Yep.
Grisham is basically a replacement similar to IKF. He was also a Gold Glover with speed, but infield.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is probably the most excited I've been for a Yankees team in a good while.
Yeah.
With the lineup they had last year, if it was Judge and Soto and the rest of the team, they would just walk Judge and Soto every time, knowing that the other guys weren't going to be keeping them in. Now they can't do that. Can't do that.
We have too much. Soto and Judge have way too much protection this year compared to last year.
Yeah.
So when Dominguez is back, where do you see him hitting in the lineup?
Depends on. I mean, probably low in the lineup until he earns his. Until he earns
7, probably.
Yeah.
What's up, NFE?
7 to 9, maybe.
Chilling, man. I just got out the gym right now. I'm driving, so that's why I'm not on camera.
That's fine.
I'll be listening to you guys. Yeah. I just got done
safe.
training, and I just got done with an appointment.
Be safe.
Nice, man. So I wanted to get your thoughts about spring training and everything that this Yankee team has done with how deep the farm system is, going all the way up to this lineup. What are your thoughts, man? Because it's exciting.
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds. Let me go on to my Bluetooth here.
Gotcha.
Hold on.
But
1 second. All right. Hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
Good.
Cool. So my thoughts on spring training is this: I'm excited to see this team. You know, based on everything that I'm hearing, and you know how these guys are in a good mood. Like there's a lot of optimism, right? And I look to Aaron Judge first, you know, because he's the captain. And based on his press conference, you know, I talked about this with Mazza earlier today when I went live. He felt really confident talking to the media. That was like the most confident he's ever felt. I think he has matured into that captain role, and I think he's going to fulfill that role even better now. You know, it's great to hear that Nestor is throwing hard, right? He's, you know, at least as of right now, he's healthy. I'm going to keep an eye on him just because, you know, he's a guy that I worry about in the starting rotation. as far as like the prospects that are coming up, guys heard me talk about him many times, and I'm mostly excited for Will Warren. I'm really excited to see what kind of pitcher he's going to be in the major leagues. And I've talked to Dane Huber a lot about him, and Dane got me excited about him. I can't wait to see him pitch. You know, I wish he was the number 5 guy, but you know, we got to. You know, Nestor deserves a chance. All right. Nestor, unfortunately, like he had an off year in 2023, right? His shoulder went bad. You know, in 2022, he looked fantastic. You know, he looked amazing out there. And I'm hoping we get that Nestor back. And I you know, he's looking good. You know, other players in spring training that I want to see. I want to see Giancarlo. I want to see what Slim Stanton is going to do. You know, I call him Big Slim or Slim Stanton, like that. You know, that's what he is now, because the dude, wow, he slimmed down big time, and I was like, holy smokes. And to me, I think Giancarlo is going to be that comeback player for the Yankees this year. I really think he's going to come. I think he's going to come around. And you know, he's one of those guys that takes accountability for himself, and you know, he knows it was unacceptable to hit 191. A guy like him should never hit 191. So I hope with this weight loss, him slimming down, it does prevent him from going to the injured list, and he's able to look like the Giancarlo Stanton that we all know, right? You know, and I'm expecting a good year from Anthony Rizzo as well. You know, and I said it on Hector's live stream today. Rizzo, he was playing extremely well last year until he collided with Tatis' ass. Like when that collision went down, we all knew something was up. You know, unfortunately the doctors did a terrible job of they didn't do their jobs. Let's put it that way. All right. I hate to say that, but they didn't do their jobs. I mean, the man was concussed. The man was concussed. And when you're dealing with a concussion, you don't mess with that, you know, and I could speak from experience. So, you know, I've gotten hit hard one time, and I had to sit out for a week or two because it was, you know, Jason could attest.
One time I fell ice skating. I went, and just before a trip to California, and I went after I got off the plane after 3 days in California, my head got so dizzy I couldn't even do the drive that I wanted to do to Santa Barbara. So I got a tweet that might be interesting. It says from Bobby Malone. Yankee sources are indicating talk with Snell are all but dead. Social media may be aflame with rumors of an imminent signing, but those familiar with Steinbrenner's position said the add-ons he spoke of were likely a bullpen piece or a mid-season trade.
Yeah, and he's quoting Bob Clappish actually said it. Bobby Malone is quoting Clappish.
Yeah, that was 40 minutes ago.
Okay, so and then real quick, I was just going to finish off with this. You know, those names that I mentioned, like those are the guys I'm mainly going to be paying attention to. Nestor Cortez and Will Warren. You know, I'm really excited for the pitching that the Yankees have. I'm excited for all of them, you know. But the names that I mentioned, though, Will Warren and Nestor Cortez, Anthony Rizzo, Giancarlo, like. You know, these guys I'm looking forward to seeing playing. Like, I'm excited to watch these guys. But I'm going into 2024 with a lot more optimism. And even with this current rotation that the Yankees have, I feel good about it. I really do. I know a lot of people have their doubts, but if these guys can stay healthy, we know Cole is going to be the ace. You know, if Rodon and Nestor Cortez can stay healthy, oh man. Like, that's going to be a scary rotation. And Stroman, I know he's going to kill it. I know he's motivated. I love the energy around Stroman. And Clark Schmidt, I know some people have their doubts about him, but I think Clark Schmidt
I
struggled
think
early in
Schmidt.
the year. He got better. He struggled
I think
early in the year.
Schmidt
He got
could
better.
improve
Well,
more than any other pitcher
yeah.
from last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think, Schmidt was the only other dependable pitcher in that rotation last year, other than Cole.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So Donnie is, and I'm gonna bring this up because you were just talking about it, Jonathan. That Donnie thinks that Snell is still coming. I don't see it.
I don't see it. I think Snell was dead ever since we got Stroman. Honestly.
Yep, I agree. And Sunil brings up another good point, is that we'll get a star for it because that is a very good and valid point. Cole is the unspoken co-captain, which technically he is.
He's the unspoken co-captain and the unspoken pitching coach as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, what reliever could you see it being?
What reliever could I see it be?
What relief? Yeah, if that move is a reliever, what move or what reliever do you think it would be?
If we trade for a reliever,
Maybe a Marlins
Yes.
reliever.
Maybe the Marlins or possibly Seattle, because those two names.
Maybe.
I don't know. For some reason I feel like I don't know who has a good bullpen. It's possible. Yeah, those are the two teams that come in mind, but since what wasn't the Nationals were one of the team were just sold, so they're not. I don't know.
The
I don't know.
Orioles.
Orioles. The Yankees are not making trades with the Orioles, but
No, but that was the team that was just sold.
yeah.
Could it be
Right
a
now,
Garrett Crochet? Maybe.
I'm not sure. It's possible. Maybe San Diego, because they seem like they're also selling players. So it's possible they may do a bullpen trade with them, but I think they have enough pieces, and they have some pitchers in the minors that can help them at least in the immediate future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yuki
It's
Matsui
true.
looked good with the Padres.
Yeah, he
Today.
did. He looked really good today.
Yeah. He's another guy I wanted for the Yankees.
Yeah, I mentioned him too.
Yeah, and I
thought
still
they
don't-
were going to get him.
Yeah, I don't know why I was very certain they would get at least one Japanese player because of the new owner, but obviously he didn't help.
Oh well.
I don't know if it'll be Devin Williams, Donnie. I don't think it will be. As nice as that would be to have Devin Williams because of his caliber of pitching. I don't think that's going to be it because they got Holmes, and I think they're sticking with him.
Yep.
They're gonna stick with Holmes for at least one more year.
Yeah.
He's a free agent after 2024 too. So.
Yes. At least one more year.
Mm-hmm. No.
So then, after this year, what do you do about getting a closer? Do you resign Clay Holmes or?
I mean, honestly, I would like to see Lewis Hill as a closer.
Yeah, but you got to give him some time to get.
He has 1 year. I'm talking about after this year.
I would have him in the bullpen at the very least start the year.
Yeah, but I could see Hill as a closer. That's my long-term plan for him. He was a starter and he became a closer, just like Mariano. I'm not saying he's the next Mariano, but I'm saying he.
Well, no, but
steps as Mariano.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should look if Hill real quick as far as Luis Hill being a closer. I know some fans are asking for that. Look, I would welcome it, but let's tread slowly on that because he is coming back from injury, right?
Yep.
We got he's coming back from Tommy John, so we got to be careful. And
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'm also hearing that he is the Yankees are thinking about turning him into a starter. I don't know if that's true or not, but what I don't know if you guys heard anything.
No, I
I haven't
heard
heard anything. And
Okay.
Donnie Hampton is a starter, not a closer.
Hampton in the
And
start.
Right.
we just went over about the whole Snell thing, and none of us think we're getting Snell.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
I would. Well, after this year, I could see Hampton as a possible starter. That's why I don't see Hill as a starter, because you have a guy like Hampton. I could see Hill
Yeah.
Jason,
as a.
weren't you the one who said that Hampton has been compared to Garrett Cole?
Yeah,
There's been talk about that.
draws comparisons to Garrett Cole. So,
And I want to mention this real quick too, because Hal Steinbrenner talked to the press today, and I put a video out earlier, and Hal made a mention of the payroll, like he acknowledged, like he said, whatever other players we sign, if we do sign any players, it's gonna cost us, right? But he's remaining open, right? So if Cashman makes a recommendation to him, he'll consider it. If it's going to help improve the team, he'll consider it. So,
Yep.
Dane,
Hi, Dane.
What's up, Dane?
oh, Dane's in the chat. What's up, Dane? How you doing?
what's up, Dick?
So Hal is still very much open to improving this team. If the team, if there's areas of improvement, if they need to make any changes, or add or not make changes, but add players, then he's very much open to it. But he'll definitely take that into consideration. But he's also taking into consideration that they're over the threshold. So, but I liked a lot of what Hal said today, and the whole, like, he revisited, so he mentioned some of the names like Spencer Jones, Chase Hampton, some of these guys that were mentioned as part of trade ideas, and he's just like, he's very reluctant about giving those guys up. So he sees those guys as being future Yankees.
Yep.
Yep.
And
So-
the one thing that you had said, NFV earlier, was Cashman has said the pencils are not down yet.
No, they're not.
So,
yeah. I mean, until Cashman says we're rolling with what we got, as far as I'm concerned, he's talking with agents, he's talking with teams, and, he's seeing what he could do. But he's also playing it smart by either. Okay.
Yeah.
Cashman is playing his cards right, as far as I'm concerned. And, a lot of people just think we got to get the attractive names. We got to go out and get Josh Hader. We got to go out and get we have to sign Blake Snell. We have to sign Montgomery. No, honestly, no, they don't actually. Or, they got to trade for Dylan Cease. No, they don't. They don't. Especially when
it's really not the end of the world if we don't get them.
No, it's really not. It's really not. And you know what? With as far as Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery goes, I mean, with those guys not being signed, part of me, I feel kind of bad for them, but at the same time, I don't feel bad for them. It's their agents screwing them over big time.
Yep.
So,
and I just want to put. Yeah, go ahead, NFV.
No, real quick. I was just going to say, like, if hypothetically speaking, let's just say if the Yankees are in on Snell, I mean, they're the only team that made an offer at this point, right? And the rumors in the news is just getting ridiculous at this point. But if after next week, I'd be like, man, you know what? We're moving on. Like, we don't have time for this. Opening day, our regular season starts in like 3 weeks. We can't afford to wait around and wait for your agent to make a decision. So,
well, I agree with you. They have to give Snell a deadline, say February 29th or March 1st. If you don't sign with us on that day, the deal is off the table.
By February 29th, March 1st hits, bye-bye.
So 1 week from today, for example, this is hypothetical.
Yeah, 1 week. I'm not.
1
No
week.
way. It's March. I'm not wasting my time. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No,
Nope.
I
And
wouldn't.
You still have other places of need, other things you need to think about. You can't waste all your time on one player just because he doesn't want to sign with you.
Yankees have made that
here's
mistake.
here's
Yeah, go ahead,
here's the
Spud,
other
sorry.
thing. No, you're good. The 5 remaining Scott Boras clients that are available are Blake
Mhm.
Snell, Jordan
Yep.
Montgomery, JD Martinez, Matt Chapman, and
Cody Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger. Thank you. Do not be surprised if they sign in the middle of the season because they're not getting a full spring training. Let's just clear that up now. They're not getting a full spring training. Do not be surprised if they don't sign until the middle of the year.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't want the Yankees signing any of those guys. Like I know they're not in on JD Martinez or Matt Chapman or Cody Bellinger, but even if Montgomery and Snell were options, I'd be like, no, don't even bother. At this point, I would say wait for the deadline and see if they could trade with a team. I don't know how you all feel about that, but
Dane brings up a good point, and I'm going to bring this point up because it's a very factual point. I don't care about the money or draft picks, but losing the IFA money would suck. We have the number 2 IFA guys signed next year, and we'll lose them if they sign Snell.
that is true too. No,
And that is why I never wanted Snell, because of the IFA money.
Yep. Because, mind you, there's 2 things that happen. One, we lose IFA money, as well as 2 draft picks because he's
Second.
attached to a QO.
Yeah, the second and the
And
fifth.
number 2, whatever we pay Snell, double that. Because half of that goes to taxes and the other would go to him.
Yep. Yeah, that's why if I'm any free agent right now, it's either Jordan Montgomery or Mike Clevenger.
I mean, the Yankees have a farm system that everybody is thriving about. Dane has had very high compliments. Why not use the farm system to complement your players if you need more players?
Yeah, Jonathan. I'm not opposed to any of the players I'm not opposed to any of our prospects. I'm not. Like I would love for the Yankees to utilize their prospects, and they said that, and Hal has said that he wants to build the team from within. He wants to start playing more of the young guys.
Yeah.
And it was funny too because Yankees fans jumped on board with that, but now it's like, no, you trade Spencer Jones, you trade Chase Hampton, you trade Arias, you trade Lane.
Those are fans that don't know what they're talking about.
Well, they're fans that flip flop because they just follow whatever is being said. So unfortunately.
And Jason, you
they can watch one of your channels and learn a few things.
Jason, you have said this on multiple occasions. Why should we waste the money on a guy that's going to cost us 2 draft picks and IFA money when you can go out and trade for a guy like a Shane Bieber or go out and sign a Jordan Montgomery or a Mike Clevenger who aren't attached to QOs, which would be more beneficial to us because of the fact that they aren't attached to QOs. We don't lose anything out of it. And if we do make a trade, all we're losing is just pieces from our farm system.
Yep. Yeah. Or Jordan Montgomery, who would just be losing money.
And 10 spots in the draft.
Yep. And you trade for Beaver is probably going to be the most affordable of the trades you could possibly make at this point. Montgomery would cost double the money, but nothing else. So those are the options you have to weigh. There's layers of penalties for Snell, even though it's a 2-time signing order, and we know that. But there's layers of penalties. So he's the only guy at this point that has those layers of penalties on the pitching side.
And the fact that Snell has a history of being only a 5-inning pitcher.
He's only thrown he has 2 Cy Youngs, and in both of those years that he has Cy Youngs, he's pitched at least 180 innings. Every
Yeah.
other year has been less than 180 innings, and I am not willing to give a guy like that a
200.
massive deal for a guy who's only going to throw 5 innings and blow my bullpen out by the middle of the year.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another thing that people aren't thinking about.
Hey guys, real quick, I have pulled up to my house. Give me like 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. I'm just gonna.
You're good, NFE.
And
He probably lost service, but he'll be back. We'll be on for a little while longer. But Jason, what is the one thing that you have you've said a lot of really, put out a lot of really good information, and one of the things you've touched on was how do the Yankees build and I guess my question to you is how do they build a team with a mix of youth and experience without being hurt draft wise or IFA money wise, and like if you couldn't get a Montgomery or a Clevenger or a Bieber, what do you do?
You try to. I mean, you try to trade with the Mariners. You try to trade with the Marlins. Um, and if you didn't, then you ride with the guys that you have. They've already added Stroman, so and Rodon's healthy, Nestor Cortez is healthy, so it's a net gain of more than one starter. If you think about it that way too, do they have enough to get to the playoffs? Yeah, I think they do. Um, and those are essentially the options that present themselves at this point, right? So and going with Warren, going with Hampton allows you to infuse the young, controllable talent here with the expensive players. Trading some of the young talent that's locked by other positions in order to get a pitcher like Bieber is another way. And again, the free agency route, there are essentially 3 options, right? Montgomery, Snell, and Clevenger. Well, 4, but I don't think Thor's going to happen. Clevenger has
No.
ties to Matt Blake, just like Shane Bieber does. So, Shane Bieber at this point will probably be the most sensible trade to make, it probably the easiest one for them to execute. So I'm keeping him keeping him in the back pocket here. But that's kind of to me, that's like the blueprint of how to do it. If you want to go with the young guys, these are the young guys to go at right now. And you got Warren, Clayton Beaters in AAA too, Chase Hampton's in AA, but he has a higher ceiling than the 2 guys in AAA. So, and then I'm not really worried about Lane and some of these other guys because they're too far behind right now.
Lane is probably 2 years away.
At least, yeah. I'm excited about his development. I hope he continues to progress, but I'm not worrying about anybody that's in single A right now. So there's not. If he progresses more, then great. I hope he does. So, but those are like the options that are available, I think, to the Yankees right now, based on who's out there, who's signed, who's not, who's traded, the finances of other teams, the Yankees' current payroll. And I think all those things have to be factored in order for them to put forth a better team that they already have right now. But if they didn't make a move for a pitcher, then my guess is they'd probably try to make one at the trade deadline.
Yeah, that's basically what everything you're saying is what I agree with too. If they improve, it will be by trade or by calling up a player from their system.
Yeah, and like to your point too, Jonathan, if you trade for somebody right now, you're trading for somebody who's already in camp, who's already ahead of the free agents.
Yeah, he already has his arm working.
Yeah, he's building his pitch up, and so on and so forth. So you sign these guys, you're already guaranteeing somebody is going to be behind in the rotation. Yeah, it's guaranteed.
So Greg just put in a comment which I don't understand nor do I agree with. Which was Yankees not good at developing starting pitchers. I'd like to know why you think that and where you got that information from.
Yeah. They weren't that good. I think they're much better now.
Yeah, I guess in the last maybe 15 years, they only have What?
Yeah.
Wong and Severino.
Yeah, Andy Pettit,
But,
pretty much.
But over the last maybe 3 or 4 years, they've become much better.
Mm-hmm.
And
Actually, that's
Yorene Gomez, I think, also could be a contributor. He's also on the roster.
Remember, these guys drafted Clark Schmidt too. I expect
so.
to take the next step in his development as well. I feel good about Clark Schmidt.
So
Oh, relievers, not starters. Okay, so that's where the confusion was.
Well, the
That's
Yankees have always been good at developing relievers.
Yeah, that's
Developing them, acquiring them,
yeah.
from wherever. I'm not worried about the Yankees
no,
bullpen.
the Yankees have always find a way to find good relievers, just like Clay
Yeah.
Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Clay Holmes was a high 5 ERA guy in Pittsburgh before he became here. Now he's a mid 2 ERA guy. Matt Blake has taken
He got traded just for a park.
Hoy Park.
Hoy Park.
And fans were outraged when we did that.
I remember that.
Right? They wanted to throw Cashman to the wolves. We got rid of this kid. Not even in the game now for Clay Holmes.
But
they got Ian Hamilton. Where did they find him last year? Pawn Stars? They just found him out of nowhere. And now he's like a Harry Winston diamond for the Yankees.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
I don't even know what team he was on before then.
I don't know what else they found him.
That is something that we have to give Cashman credit for. And Jason, you have said this on countless of occasions as well. You have to give Cashman credit for finding the diamonds in the roughs and giving them to Matt Blake, who turns them into these superstar pitchers. And Clay Holmes is a prime example of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You'll get somebody every now and then who can't stay healthy and blah blah blah, like Zach Britton. But when he was healthy, he was very good here. Very, very good. Britton. So, Dylan Betances, he had a lot of potential. But he wasn't through the Matt Blake system. I think he was Larry Rothschild, maybe.
He was, but one thing Betances had that nobody else did. It was Mariano Rivera.
Yep. You get Rivera as the buffer. I mean, you could put anybody in the bullpen.
When you're sitting next to Mariano Rivera every day, helping you with his pitch.
Yeah.
Mariano Rivera is the pitcher who helped Roy Halladay become a Hall of Famer
with his cutter.
Yeah, because he's the one who traced his fingers on the ball to show him how to hold the cutter, and he used it against the Yankees, and it's all because of Mariano Rivera.
Guy had one pitch that no one can hit.
Yep, and they knew it was coming. But JC and Donnie both bring up good points that JC brings up this. Cashman gets kudos for the depth, which he's absolutely right for. And Donnie says Cash has done an amazing job these past few years or past few seasons with pitching.
Pitching, yeah, I would agree.
And look at Scott Efros.
I agree with him. Efros. The problem was he was. Didn't he just have a setback last week?
He had a minor back procedure in December.
Yeah.
So he's already throwing, but
he probably won't be back until May or June.
Probably, but we don't need him right now.
No.
So.
But we can always use extra arms.
Yeah, but that's one reason why they got Clayton Andrews and some of these other guys last week too. So they made those pitching moves last week. But once they
don't forget Yuri De Los Santos that we got in November.
Yep. And Lou Trevino they brought back in last week too. So
yep.
Yuri De Los Santos.
So
you've got a lot of
let's just think about something which is a very scary thought. The Yankees were god awful last year. We know this. They were anemic at the plate. The starting pitching was non-existent except for Cole. That bullpen was overused, and yet the bullpen was still one of the best bullpens in the sport.
Yep.
Think about that for a second, because that just goes to show you how deep this bullpen really is.
Mm-hmm. And now we have an extra starter. We also have I'm not sleeping on Luke Weaver. He's going to be a valuable swing man.
Yep.
Like I said, even if Nestor Cortez throws 120, 130 innings, and Weaver does the same, that means the Yankees don't have to expect Will Warren to throw 180 innings. They
Do
can
you
easily.
think? Do you think Weaver could be like an opener at some point? A type
Probably.
player?
Probably.
Start him in the first and second inning, and then take him out for the starter.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
It's
I
possible.
think he'll give some versatility.
That's a way to reduce the innings of Cortez, of Rodon,
Mm-hmm.
who are coming back from injury. Just use an opener like Weaver for 2 innings.
They've quietly
Yeah.
replaced Ramon and Brito and Vasquez with all these guys that throw innings. So they've quietly replaced most of these guys.
And you know what's great though is the Yankees have filled up so many holes this offseason and have hardly spent money at all.
Who's their only free agent they signed? Marcus Stroman?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
And that was to a very team friendly deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was 2 years, what, 38,
It
37
was a
million?
3-year deal, but the third year was an option. But
Mm-hmm.
it was for 17 million, I think, or 18 million.
So 18 million, 36 per year. So that's not a bad price for that type of pitcher.
True.
We've only spent 36 million, 37 million dollars. That could go up to 55 million dollars on one guy, and we have still filled more holes than any other team. And Jason, you have said this before too. The Yankees are the team that have been the most active this season, this offseason.
Yeah.
Well, the Soto arbitration case increased their payroll also.
Mm-hmm. All those ARB guys.
Yeah, but Soto's worth every dime that
Yes.
where he's getting. But he pays for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not complaining about Soto. I want
Yeah.
Soto here for the rest of his career.
Oh God, yeah. They're gonna name a rice and beans meal after him, or sandwich or something after him, Yankee Stadium. You know,
Nick
they're gonna
Birdie
name.
is someone whose name I'm hearing a lot. Horrible injury history, but he has shown up throwing 99 miles an hour with a sinker.
Yeah, got some guys like this that are just showing up out of nowhere. You know,
Is
and
he-
Dane,
is-
make sure we all know about it. So thank you, Dane.
What is Birdie? What is Birdie doing right now? Is he in spring training?
I'm not
I don't
sure.
think he's a 40-man roster guy, and I
No.
don't see his name on the invite list. So I'm not sure. Let's see. Nick Birdie. Looking him up right now.
I know he's not on the roster.
He's not. Let's see. Nick Birdie impressing the Yankees after rare injury history. Let's see if he's at spring training. Maybe got a non-roster invite. Let's see.
Who is Jackson Fristow?
I never heard of him.
And JJ, why is it that if Soto goes to free agency, he's at sayonara? That I disagree with 100% because there are very few teams that are going to be able to afford to pay him. So why is it sayonara to Juan Soto if he reaches free agency? There's maybe 2 teams that can pay him. The Yankees are one of them.
Yep. And why? Just out of curiosity, maybe somebody can answer. Why would he pick the Mets over the Yankees?
Yeah,
Who wouldn't?
Anybody?
I don't know a reason why he would.
No.
Curious.
Thank you, Dane. That would be great if you could do that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And that's the thing. The Yankees have already. Hal's even said this himself. He will give up his 22nd draft, his 22nd or his first round 22nd pick this year just to re-sign Soto.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot lose a first round draft pick. You can only move down 10 spots.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'm still looking for Birdie here. There are only two grown examples of a pitcher having 2 Tommy John surgeries plus thoracic outlet surgery and then coming back to pitch at the majors. Sean Hill is one, Birdie is the other. He pitched for the Expos, Nationals, Padres, and Blue Jays. That was Hill. And now Hill is a Yankees pro scout. Birdie, yeah, he's at spring training.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Are you gonna watch the game that Soto plays in, Jason?
Yes. Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
I think I can record it, but I won't be here to watch it.
I don't think first off, I don't think the Yankees and Cohen are gonna have a bidding war over Soto.
No.
I don't think that Steve Cohen is gonna pay a guy $50 million when 2 guys that he paid over $40 million turned out to not be what he was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
I
Kid
think
Birdie-
Cohen made a very similar mistake that Steinbrenner made when he first bought the Yankees.
But he
He
And-
just went out and bought it. He just went out and got all the top free agents, and it didn't work out for him.
he
There
quickly
you go.
pivots.
First
Mistake, so
still showed up throwing 98 as a starter. So there's the answer to that question. Dane will get a set video. He was saying, and JJ, yeah, I think he would accept less money in years to sign with us. Because we didn't trade 5 guys just for 1 year of Soto.
No,
yeah, I don't think they did.
that would be stupid business. Also, not
Yeah.
to resign.
That would be bad business on the Steinbrenner's part, and that would be bad business for the Yankees.
Because
I'm gonna ask
he will give you so much more than just. He will give you money in merchandise and in players. You don't want to see an empty stadium again. You resign Ron Soto.
Exactly.
And I'll ask you once again, what's the appeal of playing for the Mets over the Yankees?
There is none.
Still waiting for an answer.
Thank you, Dane. Yeah, I have heard crickets from that question, by the way. I've answered it, and I know what NFE is going to say. I can almost guarantee you he'll tell you that there's no appeal for it. I'm sure Jonathan agrees with that.
What if they bring him in and they lose Pete Alonso?
Yeah.
They got to re-sign Pete Alonso, and he's going to cost $100 million more, most likely than Gleyber Torres would.
So the Yankees have a better roster. Absolutely right.
Right.
Aiden, how you doing?
Aiden.
NYY Hulkamaniacs, how you doing? Snell's only offer was from the Yankees. He's absolutely right about that, but I don't think he signs here.
No.
Who's translating Aaron Judge's conference into Snell deal imminent? Who's doing that, JJ?
Who's your source on that?
I have not seen any of the.
I haven't seen anything about that either.
I will only
Cohen,
I will only trust it if Curry or one of those other guys that know the Yankees passing
Yeah.
or
Hey, JJ.
Rosenthal. Those are the three. Those are the 3 guys I like: Curry, Passan, and Rosenthal. If they don't tweet it out, then it's all. I don't listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Who's king of
Senga
161st?
will be out. Huh?
Who's king of 161st?
I
You said, who's that?
Yeah,
haven't heard of that.
I haven't heard of that either.
Copycat. All right.
But anyways,
Yeah.
Easy there, JJ. We're not going there.
It's crazy. Another channel. Oh, okay. Never heard.
Anyways, with that being said, the goal for this year, with everything they've done, is to make it to the postseason. If the Yankees are at the trade deadline, let's okay, cool. Hey, NFE.
What's
Uh, could you do me a favor, NFE, and put the link to your channel in the chat?
Absolutely. Give me
Cool.
a second here.
So, if the Yankees, let's say the Yankees are in either first or
Postmates.
second by the trade deadline. Do you think if they're in a competitive
You said the
state
link
to where
for the
they,
chat, right? Sorry, Maza.
yeah, the link to your channel
Oh, it's my
in the
channel.
chat.
My bad.
Yeah, no, you're good. If the Yankees are feeling like they can win the AL East, but they need that extra piece to get over that hump, who is the most likely trade target for them?
Trade target. Depending on what position they need, really. Do they need a
So,
bat or do they need a pitcher?
if they need a starter, a
starter.
starting pitcher,
Maybe Shane Bieber.
Bieber. I want to see Bieber too.
interesting.
Yeah, Bieber. Yeah, Bieber would make the most sense. But Donnie Clark here is saying Cabrera. I would welcome Cabrera. I mean,
I would too.
yeah. I mean, and Rob from Pinstripe Chronicles has been yelling his name for months.
I've been right there with Rob, and you know that too, NFE.
I'm aware.
Who would we give for him? Who would we give up for Cabrera?
Pereira probably, because we don't really have a spot for him. He's blocked.
Yeah. Who else?
You might have to give up Peraza in that deal, just
Where
because you would.
They signed Tim Anderson today.
Oh yeah, that's true. So Pereira, maybe
A bunch of young players.
Yeah. I'm curious.
You, FL Diver, real. Yeah, he is.
You would. You just got a subscriber, by the way, NFE. Just putting that out there. Thank you, Robert, for doing that.
Thank you so much, man. It is great,
guys. If you have not done so, please show Jason of 161 River Ave as well as NFE some love. These guys have helped me out with even before NFE started his channel. When I started mine, those guys were always there for me. Please show them love. Show Tats of Pinstripe Chronicles some love. Give these guys some love. They do great work. Jason with the consistent content, NFE with the consistent content. NFE's on the road to 500. I'm on the road to 500. Let's get him there as well as myself. And Jason's on the road to 21,000. Let's get him up there too.
I think what I might be what's called is it called a rover, where I participate in everybody's channel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like the Yoda for all the channels, man. You're the wise one.
You are.
I'm not 900 years old, though.
No, we got to get you a Yoda T-shirt or something, man.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and yes, Dane of Yankee Farm. Please go subscribe to him and go check him out. They do such a fantastic job with all the prospects. If you want any information on the prospects, talk to Dane. He will give you all that good information. I'm telling you, you will never look at prospects the same.
Yeah. JC, yeah. If they're on TV on Saturday, I'll watch them. Yeah.
No I'm going to be out of town on this weekend.
But I'm going to do one last topic, and then we're going to wrap up for the night. NFE, what is your prediction for this year for the Yankees, record-wise?
Record-wise?
I don't know what that means.
I will say, I think they'll go. I think they're going to go. I think they're going to go 95 wins.
Okay.
I'll say 95.
Okay.
I'm just trying to be a little modest here,
no, that's fine.
Yeah.
I respect that. What about you, Jonathan?
I would say anywhere between 95 and 100.
Interesting. Jason?
94 and 68.
Okay.
I could see 90. I could see that. But I could also see them winning 95 games as well. So I like that. It's a good variety, good mix.
Mhm.
But guys, I want to thank all of you guys for joining me tonight. Jason, Jonathan, Enefi, thank you for coming on tonight. This was a blast.
Thanks for having us.
I know I don't have a whole lot of time with everything going on with what I got to take care of, but when I do get a chance to do this, it is a blast. It's always a lot of fun. So thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Enefi, Jason, Jonathan, you guys are awesome. Remember, please subscribe, like, hit that share button, and please go show Jason and Enefi and Dane some love, as well as Uncle Tats on the Pinstripe Chronicles. These guys are great. They do great work. They are on top of everything. So be sure to show them some love. This is the last stop on this train. You guys have a great night, and I will see you guys next time.
Shout out to all of you in the chats. Have a great night, gang.
Thanks.